And welcome into the broadcast, everybody. It is Thursday evening. You're not losing your mind. It's not Sunday. We decided we would do a region weather live here tonight. And the reason why is because we've got impactful snow on the way tomorrow morning. We've been highlighting the fact that we're going to get two clipper systems in here. One comes in earlier on this afternoon. We saw a little bit of snow with that, but the bigger one comes in tonight and tomorrow morning. And that is going to bring some snow to the region. And my concern is that it lines up with that morning rush hour, and that we get some decent snow accumulation, not a ton, but enough, and the timing is really bad with it. And so we may have some pretty slick travel around Northwest Indiana tomorrow morning. So want to kind of get us out ahead of that. This will be a brief broadcast, but I want to cover what's coming our way tonight and tomorrow. And then we might as well highlight the weekend since we're there. I mean, happy Friday, everybody. We're basically at Friday. It's been just a long, cold week around here. I know how you're feeling. A lot going on here coming up this weekend. A lot of things to watch on the tube, which is probably a good place to park yourself in front of the TV as the Olympics officially kick off tomorrow night on NBC. We've also got obviously the Super Bowl on NBC, and I work for NBC, so it's a very busy weekend for us. A lot of viewership obviously tuned in. All right, so we'll dive into the broadcast. We'll say hi to some of our early birds. I do appreciate you joining me kind of in an odd time here on an odd day, but again, we're going to cover the precipitation that we've got coming our way tomorrow, and boy, it looks pretty dicey at times. We'll see what happens in terms of some of that snow tomorrow morning. I do want to thank two of our newest sponsors. This is a free show for our sponsors, but obviously we've got you covered in every single trade here in Northwest Indiana up above us. So make sure you support them. But I want to highlight two of our newest ones that we have. First of all, Service Master by Tecton. They help you get back to normal with their disaster restoration services. So if there's a flood, a fire, anything in between, Service Master by Tecton is there for you. They take care of commercial and residential needs. You can reach them at 219-476-2222 or at their website, which is smartrestore.com. Smart is SMRT, restore.com, or you can find them on social. If you don't know what to do next in an emergency, they do. Again, that's what Service Master by Tecton does. And also we want to thank Kraz Construction. They were founded back in 1927. They provide durable windows. If you need windows, they do doors, they do siding, anything to help Northwest Indiana homeowners weather every season. They also do fences, attic insulation, pretty much anything around your house. Krasman.com or 219-248-3911. Those are our newest sponsors as of this week. Welcome to the Region Weather family. All right, let's talk to our early birds here on board. Ethan, quick on the trigger on YouTube there, buddy. Says we have the triple threat tomorrow night. Yeah, snow, wind, and temps. This temp drop's going to be something else, Ethan. Gusty winds with that as well. Vicky's with us. Good evening, Vicky. Hope you're doing okay. Lynn is with us this evening. JD asks, am I sick of the snow? JD, I am. You know, this has been such a long, January was such a long month. I didn't get many days off, and I'm not complaining because this is what we live for. But it did get kind of old. But then I was thinking, the other day, I'm like, I don't really like boring weather patterns like we get into in September and stuff like that. And so I'm not really sick of it yet. I enjoy the action. I enjoy seeing what Mother Nature brings us next. So, I was, but then I talked myself out of it. I think it's a mental game. And I think it's that way for a lot of us. Nancy, good evening to you. Sir Watts says the AC will be turned down for a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit. Hello, other Lynn. We've got two Lyns on board. Amanda's looking forward to next week's warm-up. We're going to talk about that briefly at the end, Amanda. I want to get into those numbers because a lot of people are coming in hot on these numbers. And I'm telling you, I'll tell you what models do and what they don't do in terms of the modeling and what people are kind of getting wrong here in terms of the forecast. Cheryl Lynn's looking for good news. Renee, good evening to you. Yes, Chad, there's going to be some lake effect on the tail end of this. We'll discuss that. Sherry's with us as well. Renee, thanks for watching from Newton County. I do appreciate it. Derek, good to see you here tonight. Appreciate you joining us. Carol, hello to you. Sal is tired of the snow. Sal, you're not alone. There are so many people that are. Mean Streak says, coming with the winter already. Coming with this. Oh, probably done with this winter is what you mean. I know. Dee's with us. Maxwell says, enjoy the action also. There you go. There you go, Mean Streak. I see what you're saying. All right, let's dive in. Here's what we've got going on right now. We're starting to break up this flow, but we've got really 3 or 4 more days of this where we've got this giant ridge out west. It has been so summer-like and late spring-like in the western U.S. They've barely had a winter. I mean, they've had mild air as long as we've had the cold air. And that's because this giant ridge, and you see everything coming at us from the northwest. It's been a persistent pattern really since Thanksgiving. We got a couple breaks, and we're still in it. And this one's a particularly strong dose of cold air just east of us here in the region. It is going to get much, much colder Friday night and Saturday. But for us, our concern is this area of energy that you see coming out of northern Canada right now. There's a burst of energy that's going to come in. It's going to produce a pretty decent area of snow with some decent snowfall rates, and it's going to gush through the region, and then it's out of here with cold air and some lake effect on the backside. So that's kind of the big picture right now. East Coast storm getting going as well. In terms of our local forecast, though, we had the snow showers today. We kind of caught a break here over the course of the afternoon and evening, and here it comes tomorrow morning. So this is a very fast, very small but potent clipper system that's coming in. And I mentioned if you join me on the radio side of things, so we're on X-Rock 103.9, Indiana 105.5, and Z107.1, and we do daily forecasts, and we spend a couple minutes. Scott and I chat back and forth about the weather, right? And we were talking back on Monday about this clipper, how this looked like it would miss us here in the region all week, but we had to keep our eye on it because the path of these storm systems still isn't locked in, despite technology and weather forecasting. We still aren't completely locked in on a storm's track to the exact mile 5 days out, 3 days out, still not locked in completely. So you have to keep an eye on any system this time of year that's even close by. And so wouldn't you know it, by the time we got to Wednesday, the clipper that was looking to miss us earlier this week nudged a little bit closer to the region, but it still didn't look to hit us. And then once we got in today's model run, and even last night's, the late night run, started to bring this through the region. And we get clipped by it, but we get pretty much the worst part of it because it's the part that has the best uplift and the heaviest snow out of it. So here's what we're looking at. This is tomorrow morning. This is it right here. It's not much, right? It's about a 2 to 4, maybe 5 hour window of a burst of snow. And there are some indications that there could be some icing on the back side of it because we've got warm air that's trying to get in here. It's been trying to get in here for a long time. And so there may be a little warm air layer that kind of overruns it. For the region, what we're looking at are big fat flakes, and we're looking at a burst of snow that happens right before and during that morning rush hour tomorrow. All right. Will it look like this on radar? I think it probably will. We'll probably have just kind of a decent cluster of snow that kind of rotates through. But again, the timing on this is what stinks because it's going to impact you if you have to drive tomorrow morning, which a lot of us do. A lot of more people take Friday off from the office since COVID, which is interesting. I've always noticed that traffic is down just a tick on Fridays with people taking the morning off, or maybe, they have Monday through Thursday school with the kids, whatever it happens to be. So at least it's a Friday. We've got that. But that's the little burst that moves through. So this moves in 3, 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m., lasts till about 8. Then that's out of here. And then we develop a very strong wind, gusty, cold wind coming in. Temperatures are going to crash tomorrow afternoon and evening, and we will develop some lake effect. And we may add a little bit in terms of lake effect totals on top of that. All right. So we know the timing of it. How about how much? Let's zoom in. I'll get you a closer look here. That way we can kind of look at some of these totals. I'm going to show you 2 model runs because neither of them, I think, have a complete handle on this. It depends on where that chunk of heavier snow is within that complex. But you see the idea here that by tomorrow late morning, we're talking anywhere from a quick 1 to 2 inches, heavier amounts out towards the east, depending on where that banding develops. But the NAM Nest kind of has a different idea. Notice how it has a general quick 1 to 2 inches with a few areas that pick up maybe 3 out of this. And again, this is through tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening. And then we would add some lake effect, not a ton, but a little bit on top of that. The HERS gathering that information as well. It thinks that we get a quick 1 to 2, and then it adds some lake effect on top of that with heavier amounts out towards South Bend. And that would be tomorrow night, tomorrow evening into tomorrow night and Saturday with that. Okay. So what I'm looking at with this, I think that's right in line. I think it'd be a quick 1 to 2, maybe 3 inches if we get like the solid part of it, where we get, the bulk of it. But either way, it's not a lot of snow coming our way tomorrow. But the problem is it's going to be the timing of it and the fact that it's morning rush hour, and we're a mess if we get half an inch of snow for that morning rush. Okay. So extra time tomorrow morning. It will likely be snowing when you wake up, unless you're like me and get up really, really early in the morning. I think you're going to have snow in that morning commute. So just a heads up there. A couple other things coming our way tomorrow, though. I do want to take you through temperatures because there's a dramatic drop behind this Arctic front that's moving through. Notice how we stay mild tonight. We'll hold in the 20s. We'll take it. And then tomorrow, you're probably seeing on your app that we're getting up well into the 30s. Well, we will. We'll get up into the 30s for a good part of the day into the early afternoon, probably sitting around the freezing mark, maybe a couple ticks above. And then, boom, this cold air comes gushing in here, and will likely be in the single digits where we're away from the lake effect clouds and snow. Meanwhile, we're in the teens where that flow is coming off our lake and we have the clouds and some snow around. So really, really cold waking up Saturday morning. And this does come with wind Friday night into Saturday morning. This wind is going to be strong as it comes in. So you notice how we're breezy for that snow tomorrow morning, not windy tomorrow morning. I think the wind isn't going to be much of a factor when the snow comes in. But then once we get towards the midday and afternoon, boom, there you go. That wind comes gushing in out of the northwest. That's that cold air where we'll have gusts 35 to 40, I think, easily, especially near the lakeshore. Good news is it backs off pretty quickly on Saturday as high pressure comes in. Okay, so those are the two things I wanted to show you there. Real quick, what I want to take you through is kind of what happens next week, all right, and the weekend. We know it's going to be cold this weekend. There's our system there. Some lake effect on the backside of it all the way through Saturday. And then Sunday, we should dry out. There's going to be another clipper off towards the north, but that is not one I feel like we need to watch. There's not a lot of moisture with it, and it's running into a high pressure, so it's kind of falling apart. But still cold on Sunday. Monday, we start the recovery process. We're still dry. And then models still don't know what to do next week with this warm air coming in and if they phase two lows. But there is a chance that we bring showers into the forecast sometime Tuesday, Wednesday. Maybe again with this system here, which looked a lot bigger this morning. Let me just show you the difference. This is what the modeling had this morning, where it brought several waves of rain and even some heavy snow through here. That's not the case on the newest runs. So the newest runs bring just some rain in here and they don't phase that second low. So that's a big difference. That's why we look at the models, right? But overall, we stay kind of on the cooler side next week. We'll warm up, but it won't be quite as warm as what you've been thinking or seeing on social. People tend to jump the gun on these temperatures, and I'm telling you, cold air wins this time of year still. And then after that, pretty active weather as we go into your Valentine's Day and beyond, with several systems coming our way. Temperatures look like this right now in the long term, and here's why we have to caution some of these warm-ups. The Euro, you can see 50s and 60s, right? This is Valentine's Day and beyond. Remember, last week it had this on Valentine's Day and the days leading up to it. So the models, like in the summertime, a lot of times the models on day 10 through 15 will show like 100 degrees, 102, 103. And then as it gets closer, it kind of backs that down a bit. We end up 92, 91. Same thing happens this time of year. It tends to rush the warm, whereas all this deep snowpack that we have and just the cold air in general tends to end up pushing things further south this time of year. And so as a result, the warm-up that we had that a week ago in the 10 to 15-day range was showing 50s coming up next week. Now we're talking 30s and maybe 40s at best. It's better, yes, but it's not what we were looking at. And so when I look at these 50s and 60s coming up in mid-February around here, I'm a little hesitant to put that out on social and say, hey, we're going to hit 60 on the 17th. That's not exactly true. We'll see what happens with these. It's certainly possible. February can bring us 60s. We've even had 70-degree days in February. We really start to tag into some warmer air down to the south. And let me show you that real quick, because this was really optimistic. If you need something optimistic, look at the warmth potential that's there. I mean, these are temperatures. This is coming up next Thursday. All right, 70s and 60s down to the south. And this warmth becomes more and more prevalent as we go into the forecast. So look at this there. I mean, this is incredible. On the 18th, Euro is saying St. Louis is going to be around 70 with widespread 70s in areas that are well below zero over the last couple of weeks. So, I mean, this is the air we can tap into, and this is what February does. We tend to get big storm systems. So I'm not saying it's, out of the realm of possibility. However, let's be cautious about that, and we'll focus on the system that's coming through tomorrow first. Okay, so that's what I have for you. So in terms, again, of what's happening with the weather, we've got a very active pattern that's moving in. We've got a clipper system tomorrow morning. This will impact that morning rush hour. I expect anywhere from 1 to 2, maybe 3 inches of snow. Not a lot of snow, but we'll have some heavier rates with that. Maybe an inch or so an hour at its best. And this moves in 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning from north to south. It'll be with us through that morning rush hour. Should be out by 8 or 9. And then we'll watch colder air and gusty wind come in as we get into the afternoon. After that snow moves through, temps should hold near the freezing mark, maybe a little bit above. So that's kind of what we're dealing with. Okay. All right. That's what I've got. I see a lot of people talking flowers and shorts. So there's that. But yeah, I'm ready too. I can't wait to get out and start digging around. Oh, look who's here. Look who escaped. It's my 2-year-old. Hi, buddy. You want to say hi to everybody? There he is. Oh, he's starting his terrible twos, aren't you? You've been such a sweetheart. That's a microphone. Does anyone notice that the sound is better? Because I finally got a legit microphone, so the sound should be a lot better. You should be able to pick up the kids playing in the background and screaming at each other. So there's that. But anyway, hopefully the sound is okay. I haven't tested this mic yet, but we're in the business now, and we thank our sponsors for that as well. I just want to sound as good as possible, huh, bud? All right, you should be in bed, shouldn't you? Yes. Should we be going to bed now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll go to bed. Okay, guys. Well, thanks for joining me again. Be safe tomorrow morning. I'll be around. I've got to do the morning show, so I'll be around for some updates. We'll do some radar updates tomorrow morning. Keep you out ahead of it. So make sure you turn to Region Weather first. We'll have your answers for you. And again, appreciate you joining us. You guys have a good night. We'll talk to you again on a live version of things on Sunday. So make that a date. Until then, have a good weekend. We'll have updates on the radio side of things and on regionweather.com. Yeah, pretty colors. All right. Thanks, guys, for the sound update. I got you. Appreciate it.